This episode is about Sumner Lake State Park in New Mexico. There's 5 campgrounds here, 3 regular campgrounds and 2 primitive campgrounds. I'm at the primitive campgrounds, which are just below the dam at Sumner Lake. They're letting out some water right now. There are some people fishing across the way. There's a little campground across the way. There's like 4 sites over there, and there are maybe 3 sites down this way, right on the Pecos River. If you got an RV, I would suggest the other side of the dam, which is the east side of the dam over there. There's 2 or 3 good sites where you can get an RV in there. Anyway, this is near the end of November, and they've closed the Eastside Campground, which is the first campground you come to before you get to the dam over here. They closed that on October 1st, and they'll reopen on April 1st. And when you cross the dam, there's 2 more campgrounds, Pecos and Mesquite campgrounds. And they closed off Mesquite campground also, October 1st. So literally this time of the year, only Pecos campground is open. They have about 12 sites. Those are electric and water sites, so you're going to have to pay an extra $4 if you have the state park pass. And down here, the river camping, I think it's free. It's free if you have the state park pass, but if you don't, I think it's $8 a day to camp down here. Now this is off of Route 203. Actually takes you to this Sumner Lake State Park, which is near the town of Fort Sumner. That's not Fort Sumter like South Carolina, but it's called Fort Sumner, which was built in 1862 during the Civil War, primarily to protect those settlers in this area from Indians and such. And the military came in and they started putting all the Indians on reservation, a big reservation here, Navajo, Apache, primarily. And it didn't work because they didn't have enough water supply. They didn't have enough wood. You know, in the winter it gets very cold, so they needed firewood, and they ran out of, trees and such. And they didn't have enough food and everything else. So by 1868, the fort basically closed, and they let all the Navajo and all the Native Americans that were on the reservation here, they let them go. And so anyway, it's a nice park. It's even though it's the end of November, it's in the high 50s, and it's dropping down into the low 30s at night. This is a 1-hour drive from the Santa Rosa State Park. I did an episode there. You're just going to take Route 84 south, and then you'll see a sign for Route 203, and just take that about 6 miles out to the Sumner Lake State Park. I am getting internet here with Verizon 4G, but I'm at the highest campground, which is Pecos. I have not tried it down at the lower campgrounds. There's the one campground, looks like it's probably be my #1 choice, would be called Eastside Campground, which is closed. That's right down on the lake. They're all water sites. And they do allow boating, fishing, swimming, all those kind of activities in the summer months. There are two boat ramps here. They also have primitive camping along the beach in one area, right down by Pecos Campground. You can actually drive right down to the water and set up a tent or your RV or whatever right on the lake. Trying to think what else to say here. I think that's about it for this episode. Like I say, most of the campground is closed. There's only about 12 sites open now. But I've been here 3 days now. I'm going to be leaving tomorrow. Heading south again to try to get that warmer weather. And even though there's only 12 sites, there's only like 3 or 4 campers in there. So there's available sites. If you happen to be here in this time of the year. Okay, oh yeah, there's also at the town of Fort Sumner, there's a Billy the Kid museum, and Billy the Kid grew up and lived around here, and he was finally killed by the local sheriff in 1881. So they did devote a museum to him in the town of Fort Sumner, which is about 15 miles from the campground. It's a very small town. I think there's only like 1,200 people there. There's almost no shopping. There is a dollar store where you can get dry goods, but I talked to one of the local people, and they said you have to drive like 60 miles just to get fresh chicken and fresh hamburger meat and stuff like that. So it's not you can't get much supplies there. There's a gas station and a dollar store, not much else. So anyway, I thought you'd like this episode, and this is Eric signing off.